The PGA Tour is in crisis. Brian Rolapp wanted to reshape the schedule. He is facing a growing player revolt, while five of the biggest stars in golf have united behind Jack Nicklaus in opposition to the Tour's controversial plans. What looked like a routine overhaul has become one of the biggest power struggles the PGA Tour has seen in years. They are not calling Jay Monahan. They are called the Golden Bear. And that tells you everything you need to know about how broken the relationship between the players and the front office has become. This isn't a disagreement over purse sizes or courtesy cars. This is a power struggle for the soul of professional golf. And if you think this is just another off-season rumor, you are dangerously mistaken. The players are organized, they are angry, and they are coming for the commissioner's desk. So buckle up, because we are about to break down exactly what is happening, who these five stars are, why they are backing Nicklaus, and why this schedule war could reshape the PGA Tour for the next decade. Before we dive in, drop a comment below. Do you think the players are right to revolt? Or is the tour just trying to survive? And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single update on this developing story. Not a press release, not a player town hall, an internal memo sent by PGA Tour COO Ron Price and executive David Rolapp. And that memo floated an idea so explosive that it immediately backfired in their faces. The proposal? Eliminate the St. Jude Championship. The very first event of the FedExCup playoffs, gone. Poof! Turn the three-event playoff format into a two-event sprint. Now, on paper, you might think, okay, cutting one event gives players more rest. But that is not what this was about. This was about compressing the season to accommodate the 2027 television rights negotiations. The tour wants a cleaner, shorter product to sell to networks. But here's the problem. They didn't consult the players. They didn't ask the Player Advisory Council. They just dropped a bomb and waited to see what would happen. What happened was a mutiny, because when you tell a group of hyper-competitive billionaire athletes that you're devaluing the culmination of their entire season, the playoffs they grind all year to reach, they don't just nod and say thank you. They pick up the phone, and they don't call Ponte Vedra Beach, they call Muirfield Village. So who are these five stars that have thrown their weight behind Jack Nicklaus? The golf world has been buzzing, and while the tour keeps names quiet, sources point to the most influential alliance we have seen in decades. We are talking about Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, and Rickie Fowler. Let that sink in. That is not a handful of disgruntled journeymen. That is the Mount Rushmore of modern golf, plus one of the most beloved fan favorites on the planet. These are the faces that sell the merchandise, drive the ratings, and fill the grandstands. When these five agree on something, the commissioner doesn't have a choice. He has to listen. And what do they agree on? That the Rolapp schedule is a direct attack on the competitive integrity of the FedExCup. They believe that shortening the playoffs to two events turns the regular season into a glorified qualifier. It dilutes the drama. It kills the narrative. And more importantly, it tells the fans that the tour cares more about a TV contract than about crowning a legitimate champion. These five have the clout to force a meeting with Monahan, but they didn't stop there. They went straight to the top. They went to the man who built the modern tour. Why Nicklaus? Why not just take their complaints directly to Jay Monahan? Because this isn't about a single schedule change. This is about trust, or more accurately, the complete lack of it. The players have watched the tour leadership fumble the LIV golf war, rush into a secret framework agreement with the PIF, and now attempt to overhaul the calendar without their input. They feel like pawns in a corporate chess match. And Jack Nicklaus, he is the godfather, the one guy who has seen every era, every power struggle, every negotiation. He is the only person in the room who can look Monahan in the eye and say, I built this tour alongside Dean Beeman, and you are running it into the ground. But here is the twist. Nicklaus isn't just a figurehead. He has skin in the game. He runs the Memorial Tournament one of the most prestigious events on the calendar. Any schedule change that affects the fall or the playoffs affects his tournament, his legacy, and his bottom line. So when the Big Five call him, they aren't just seeking wisdom. They are seeking an ally with leverage, and Nicklaus, behind closed doors, is reportedly furious. Not at the players, at the front office. He believes the tour is abandoning the traditions that made it great in pursuit of a quick buck, and he is not afraid to say it. The current FedExCup has 3 playoff events: the St. Jude, the BMW Championship, and the Tour Championship. 3 opportunities for players to earn their way to East Lake. The proposal wants to cut St. Jude, making the BMW the semifinal, and the Tour Championship the final. That sounds streamlined, right? Wrong, because the flip side of that coin is that the Tour wants to turn the fall series, those postseason events in October and November, into the official start of the following season. So you would have players grinding in October for points that count toward next year's playoffs. That means the off-season evaporates, the mental break disappears, and the guys who played in the Ryder Cup or President's Cup, they get 0 time to recover. The Big Five have flatly rejected this. They argue that the FedExCup finally has momentum. Fans understand the 3-event playoff. It builds anticipation. Cutting it to 2 events makes it feel like a sprint rather than a marathon, and turning the fall into a de facto season opener, that is a scheduling nightmare that guarantees player burnout by the time the Masters rolls around. This isn't about avoiding work. It's about protecting the product, and they are right, because behind the billion-dollar TV deals and the corporate memos, there are real athletes with real bodies that break down. The players are already playing a 52-week global schedule if you count the European Tour and the majors. The current PGA Tour season runs from January to August for the playoffs, with the fall events for those trying to keep their cards. Now, the Tour wants to extend that grind into October for the stars. That is a non-starter. Rory McIlroy has been vocal about the mental toll of the modern schedule. Jordan Spieth has talked about the importance of family time. And Tiger Woods, he can barely walk 18 holes, let alone play a November event that counts for next year. The players are essentially saying, we are not robots. We are not assets. We are the product. And if you burn us out, the product suffers. But beyond the physical grind, there is the legacy argument. The FedExCup is supposed to be the crowning achievement of the season. If you shorten the playoff, you reduce the drama. You reduce the chance for a Cinderella story. You turn the Tour Championship into a glorified exhibition. And the 5 stars know that their legacy is tied to the prestige of the FedExCup. They are not going to let the front office water it down just to squeeze an extra $100 million out of a broadcast deal. Right here, I want to pause and ask you something. Do you think the players are being reasonable, or are they protecting their own wallets? Hit the comments and let me know your take. And while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed. The 2027 TV rights negotiations are coming, and the tour is terrified. The Saudi Public Investment Fund has unlimited money. LIV Golf is still lurking, ready to poach more players. And the Strategic Sports Group, the American investors who ponied up billions, want a return on their investment. The tour brass believes that a leaner, meaner schedule with fewer dead events will command a higher price from broadcasters. They look at the ratings for the Valspar Championship or the Houston Open and see numbers that don't move the needle. Their argument is, if we condense the season, we can compete with the NFL in the fall and deliver a premium product to our media partners. They also argue that the players are being short-sighted. More money from TV means higher purses, more signature events, and better benefits for the rank and file. But here is the fatal flaw in their logic. They presented this plan to the players as a done deal. They didn't collaborate. They dictated. And when you dictate to a group of independent contractors who have the power to walk away, you are asking for a revolt. The tour underestimated the collective power of the Big Five. And now they are paying the price. The ones who aren't in the top 10, the silent majority, they are watching this civil war from the sidelines, and they have mixed feelings. On one hand, they hate the proposed schedule because it reduces their chances to make the playoffs. If you cut St. Jude, you cut one of the few events where a mid-tier player can make a run and secure a massive paycheck. So they side with the Big Five on that issue. On the other hand, they are terrified. They are terrified that if the stars push too hard, the tour will retaliate. They are terrified that a player-run organization will fracture the tour into factions. And they are terrified that Nicklaus, for all his wisdom, is 85 years old and doesn't fully understand the modern media landscape. This silent majority is the wild card. If they side with the front office, the revolt loses momentum. If they side with the Big Five, the tour has a full-scale insurrection on its hands. The PGA Tour is in chaos. 5 stars have backed Jack Nicklaus. And the Rolapp schedule is facing a player revolt that could change everything. This story is far from over. I'll see you in the next one. And before you go, do me a favor, smash that like button if you made it to the end. Drop your prediction in the comments about who blinks first. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss the next chapter.